Hannah O'Brien walked into the large kitchen, ready to throw something. The past hour had been pure bedlam, guests hysterical and screaming, she herself completely baffled. Of course, she had offered to refund everyone's money and suggest a beautiful chain hotel for them to check into. She opened her mouth, not to scream, but to call out for immediate attention, because she couldn't think of anything else that might have happened except that one of her permanent residents had played a not very funny trick on her unsuspecting guests. Melody Chandler was already there, leaning against the refrigerator in her beautiful Victorian glory, staring at her.
"What the hell was that?"
Hannah demanded.
"Did you bring a friend in? A dying man with his throat slit, carrying a knife and trying to kill my guests?" "No," Melody protested. "That was unbelievable. I've never had guests up and leave at 4 a.m. before. Never. And I've never had to refund anyone's money before either."
Angrily, Hannah crossed her arms over her chest and stared at the ghost with whom she had shared this house for as long as she could remember. The original owner had been Hannah's great-great-great-grandfather on her father's side, but she had actually inherited the house, already a B&B at that point, from her uncle. She had been his favorite niece, and she had loved him and the house. Sadly, he had died in his late 40s from a sudden heart attack, and she had inherited the siren all too soon. He had known how much she loved the place. She'd spent much of her time there with him, since her parents, who had lived a few blocks away on Simonton Street, had both worked. She knew the house backward and forward, along with its ghosts. She fought to control her temper.
"Melody, a little spooking the guests is fun, but this time you and Hagen went too far. I'm fighting to keep this place, but I can't do that if I don't make a profit. You two just scared all our weekend guests away. And Shelley, the poor girl who saw you, was beyond terrified. And from what she described, I don't blame her." "You did not listen to me, Hannah," Melody protested, staring at her with wide eyes, pleading to be believed. "We did not do it. Hagen would never do anything like that. You know how squeamish she can be. And look at me. Do I look like a bleeding man with a knife? And who do I know? The same spirits you do. I do not know of a single spirit walking around Key West with a bleeding neck and a knife in his hand."
Melody and Hagen didn't refer to themselves as ghosts, and didn't like to be referred to that way. Of course, tourists and most locals called the city's haunts ghosts, but Hannah was usually careful and polite, following their wishes and calling them spirits within their hearing. And with her temper cooling, now that the brouhaha in the house had died down, she had to admit that she really couldn't picture her resident ghosts turning themselves into the terrifying apparition described by her now-gone hysterical guests. But if her two known household entities hadn't been playing tricks,
"Then who?"
she asked. Someone drifted in through the closed back door, and then materialized into an excellent imitation of flesh and blood. Hannah was accustomed to such comings and goings. Hagen Dundee entered the kitchen and took up a protective stance at Melody's side, slipping a ghostly arm around her.
"I heard, Hannah, and Melody is telling you the truth. I swear it, as if anyone could ever mistake her for a man. And I promise you that it was not me either. We were not even here. We were at the Hemingway house, playing with the cats. Torturing the poor little six-toed creatures, probably," Hannah said, still angry. She'd lost business tonight, business she couldn't afford to lose. And she was fighting to believe it had been someone's idea of a prank. It was too frightening to think that it might be something else, something real. "I love cats. I would never torture cats. You know that I love all animals," Melody said regally. Hannah swallowed, then pursued the hope that perhaps the couple had schemed with one of their island spirit friends to scare tourists. "Honestly," she said, "we've talked about this before. It's charming and wonderful and helps business when you guys fool around and moan and groan in the middle of the night, or Melody when you make an appearance."